everybody, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Aysha.
And we are Traverso players. And this video is sponsored by Apple Music Classical. Today is my first Traverso or Baroque flute lesson with Aysha Wills. Welcome, Aysha.
Super happy to be here. Like most people, I did not start off playing historical instruments. Kind of got pushed in that general direction by my music taste. Oh. I started off playing modern flute. I left Canada in order to study Traverso.
Was there one historical flute player that made you fall in love with the instrument?
To be honest, the first time I'd actually saw Traverso live was at a summer course for Irish music. Funny enough. Irish music is often played on simple system flutes because a lot of their tunes are in D major and our flute's also in D. This course always invites one Baroque player to actually play classical music, and that player happens to be Martin Roth. Martin he's now retired, the Baroque flute teacher in Amsterdam. And I was like, what is that? I didn't know you could play Bach on a flute like that. Yeah. And he introduced me to it, and I was so taken with the sound and the fact that it's a wooden instrument. That was my first introduction, and I love Martin's playing. Martin studied with Franz Bruggen as well.
Wow.
Who obviously was a fantastic Traverso and recorder player. Frank Toons in Belgium, amazing player. Ashley Solomon, Lisa from the OAE, is a fantastic Traverso player. There's a lot of people to be inspired by, and I think the instrument is gaining popularity as well, so in the future there will be plenty of music for young aspiring Traverso players to listen to, I think.
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my phone here because Aysha also has a solo album out.
I've always loved Bach. I wrote my master's thesis on Bach. It's been kind of a thread going through my life. And I made a CD of 4 authentic Bach sonatas, so the ones that we really know are by him and not by one of his sons or someone else. There's a sonata with flute and clavichord, which you don't hear every day because clavichord is super quiet.
Wow.
Yeah, it's one of the most quiet keyboard instruments.
Yeah.
But we got to borrow an original clavichord from Menno van Delft. He loaned it out to us.
Amazing.
So it's Bach, but it's got my own spin on it,
Yeah. I'm going to show you this album on Apple Music Classical. This is Apple Music Classical, a new app especially for classical music. If you are already an Apple Music user, you can use Apple Music Classical at no extra cost. If you're new to Apple Music, you can try it for a month for free. Download Apple Music Classical at the link below and enjoy this huge catalogue that's finally organised in the right way for classical musicians and with excellent audio quality. So here I have Aysha's album, Bach Flute Sonatas, and what I really like is that the metadata is really good. It's set out in a logical way for classical music. I don't know how many of you have tried to find a piece of music on the internet and it's like, Allegro, 40,000 million different tracks, and none of it makes sense.
Yeah, or they don't name the composer. So it'll just be the players, and that's nice. But you want to know who's this Allegro by.
Yes.
Or the opposite, it'll say Allegro by Telemann, but it will not tell you who's playing.
Exactly. Us classical musicians have waited a long time for a service like this, and it's here. One thing I really like is that if you go to an album or a track, it also shows you other artists who have recorded that same piece. You know how I'm always saying, if you're playing something, listen to lots of versions. So Aysha, which one of these is the with clavichord?
The E major one.
There are 129 different versions. So you can go in and say, okay, how does James Galway sound compared to Jordi Savall?
I should go on this and see if anyone else has done it with clavichord.
Yeah.
We had to record that really quickly, first thing, because Menno had to tune it, and it's original. He didn't trust anyone else to tune it, which I understand. Wow. But we were very afraid it would go out of tune. So we were like on a deadline. It was like the clock was ticking. You gotta go.
That's amazing. That's so cool.
It was a high pressure one. Yeah, it was fun though.
Time for the lesson. I am ready. Can I learn the Traverso now, please?
Oh, you're gonna be taking my job by the end of this lesson, I'm sure.
So excited. Long-time viewers of Team Recorder will know that I, as a child, I was a flute player. But I have actually never ever played a Traverso, shockingly.
I have 2 Traversos in 415. I'm going to start you off with the one that I think will be easier for a beginner to get to grips with. This is the Traverso I play in my day-to-day life. So, you've played modern flute before.
I have.
You have an advantage because one of the most difficult things about starting off is how to hold it.
Oh.
We don't have that much to hold on to.
Yeah.
And because it's sideways, you don't want it to roll like that. The left hand, the little bottom part of your pointer finger is going to form like a little shelf. Oh. And you can like, like that. Wrap my hand kind of around, and I put my index finger on that first hole.
So I'm actually touching the instrument with this part of my hand.
Basically this whole, for me, it's wrapped around the Traverso. And then you can basically, I can hold it like this. Yeah.
This is so unbelievably different to the recorder.
Yes, it is.
I'm immediately making a recorder hand position, which is my little mandarin orange.
Your recorder hand position, I say mandarin orange too for the right hand.
Yeah.
I say that to all my students. You should be able to hold a mandarin in your right hand because I don't want that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want that. Stiff fingers. So think of the mandarin, but think of it in your right hand.
Okay.
The left hand is more of a hook thing. Thumb balance is on the back there.
Because there's no thumb
There's
hole.
no thumb hole, there's no thumb key.
Hole.
You've only got one key.
Yeah.
As opposed to the modern flute, which has, I don't know how many keys. A lot.
If you know, comment, and you win a flute.
Disclaimer, you will not win a flute. This key is used for a few things. It's used for supporting the flute because we need all the help we can get. Certain notes will not sound without that key. It also affects the pitch tuning of some notes, raises them, lowers them.
Okay.
We call it the D sharp key because the note that you're playing right now with all of your fingers closed is a D. If you press that in, you get a D sharp.
A D sharp.
All right, so that's the position. Your right hand looks perfect. Yeah, exactly. Ooh. Now you can put it on kind of like in the pocket below your lip, just like you would with a modern flute. And you blow as if you're blowing out a candle that's kind of far away. You're aiming your air, yeah? There you go. Now, she's going to edit this video, but that was genuinely the first time.
That really was. I'm really amazed.
Oh my gosh. Good.
What did I play? Was that a G?
That was a G. That was a G.
Okay.
Yeah.
I noticed my posture. I'm like, and kind of cowed over.
So just like with any instrument, what I would recommend, and that is something that is different between any kind of flute and any kind of instrument that's held like this, because it's so asymmetrical, if you stand with your feet facing the music stand, or the camera in this case, if you hold the flute up, what happens is your elbow is going to be a little bit close to your body.
Yeah.
And your right elbow is very free, like this. So what is recommended by most players and teachers is to turn your feet 45 degrees to the right. So we're in fact turning, I'm looking now in that direction. And then you rotate from your hips towards the music or the camera.
Wow, this makes a huge difference.
Yeah. You know, we, just like a recorder, we don't have much like a sound box, like a cello, you know, cello resonates on its own. The instrument makes sound.
Yeah.
Our one, it makes a bit of sound, but the majority of the sound is coming from the space that we create in our body, in our mouth as well. Just like singing. Flute's the same. So the more space you can have in your upper body. Now try playing a G. Very good. And now if you bring your bottom lip a little bit forward, and you think oh to ooh. There you go.
Oh, that's my high G.
There you go. That's what we were going for.
Oh, that's what we were going for. Okay.
Secretly, I don't want to tell you.
Oh, oh, wow. You're a good teacher. Wow.
Yeah, that was great. In terms of the notes you're playing, because you were asking, is this a G? Yes, the flute is tuned in D major. So modern flute players, any of your viewers who play modern flute will be used to a C flute, where if you lift your fingers one by one, you get a C major scale.
Yeah.
This is a D flute. So close all the holes, you get a D. Lift them one by one, I mean, that's an F sharp.
This is F sharp.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So on a modern flute, that's an F. The fingerings are very different between a traverso and a modern flute.
Okay.
There are a few that are in common, but of course, because we have no keys, anytime we need to produce a chromatic note, we end up with a cross fingering or a forked fingering, which is also very familiar to all the recorder people out there.
Yeah.
Why don't you just play a D major scale? We'll try and guide you through it. Yeah. This is one of the notes where you need to press the pinky key in. If you press the pinky in,
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna raise it a little bit. It's better. It's much better. Now, what's really nice is that the F is way too high. So, we're gonna try an F. Now, F is a forked fingering, and F is that one.
Right.
Yeah.
Like a recorder F.
Yeah. Now, try playing that without doing anything with your embouchure. See how it's... Okay, now play an F sharp. So, this was a big problem for me in the beginning. How do we correct this? You know that feeling when you eat something that's way too hot? Like when you, I don't know, you're out and you pick up a dumpling or something, you put it in your mouth hole and you realize that you made a grave mistake.
And you're like,
yeah, you're trying to make like as much room as possible between that dumpling and your tongue and your throat. Like that feeling. So it's like the tongue is kind of depressed. That will create a lower pitch. So for comparison, so F without correction. Now I'm gonna pretend I ate something too hot. Yeah?
that's amazing.
So my embouchure becomes a bit more like an aw, less of an oo, more aw. Try playing your F, a regular F first, and then we'll try this aw technique. It's already better. I'm gonna let the flute follow, kind of try rolling it in a little bit. There it is. There it is.
Wow, that's really advanced.
Yeah, this is the problem is that it is advanced, but it's also something that we kind of have to deal with from the beginning with Traverso. It is also one of the many reasons that Traverso is not the standard flute anymore.
Can I put you on the spot and
Yeah.
hear it? Could I hear like a D major scale?
Sure, yeah, D major scales like this. So our lowest note is a D. Very occasionally get these special flutes with the extra long foot joints and stuff, you know, experimental stuff. Our working range in the Bach partita, which a lot of your viewers know, either from recorder or modern flute, there's a famous high A at the end of that. That's playable on Traverso, that's absolutely fine. There's even a B flat on some Traversos, but I would say the range that we're most often dealing with, a low D up to maybe a high F sharp G. So I'd say just above between 2 and 2.5 octaves.
Okay, yeah. Quite like the recorder.
Exactly.
Really.
Yeah.
Could we hear it chromatic
Yeah, I can
scale?
try. What you will notice in a second is that when I play what is expected to be an F sharp, I'm not going to play an F sharp. I'm going to play a G flat, because otherwise the difference between the F and the F sharp is going to be that tiny little pathetic one that you guys heard before.
Could you show me the difference between a D sharp and E flat?
Absolutely. For me, it felt a bit strange, but flats are higher than sharps, intonated. So we think of flats as lowered. So an E flat is a lowered E, and a D sharp is a raised D. But in terms of pitch, the sharps need to be lower than the flats. Really, it was a little workout for my brain, even saying that now.
I'm just going to go over the notes real
Yeah,
quick.
sure. Yeah.
Let's see if I can like figure this out from my flute history.
Flute history or from your recorder
And my
experience.
recorder, yeah.
Yeah. This is a problematic one. A high C. A high C.
The high C.
What is your recorder high C?
Oh, you don't.
You got lots of them?
It's similar fingerings to playing a tenor recorder, like G, A, B. So the high C would be half thumb, 1, 4, 5.
Okay, maybe my high C is a little bit easier then. Middle finger of the left hand, all 3 of the right, and the pinky key.
Oh, ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You now know our standard high C. It's very bright for dolce, delicate moments. Maybe it's a bit on the loud side. We have a lot of alternate fingerings on Traverso, which is surprising considering how limited we are in terms of number of keys. I'm sure recorder has the same. I got this nice alternate C, which is the first finger and the 4th finger of both hands. So it's a nice symmetrical fingering. I like that. It's easy to remember. It's very harmonic rich. Nice color. It's a soft color.
Softer.
Less
Let's see if
bright.
I can play it.
Yeah.
The lovely confusing thing is that this fingering is the high D.
Oh, really?
On a tenor recorder.
Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, our high D is actually quite easy. It's the same as, so this is the D that you played in the 2nd octave. We're just gonna take the right hand off, but you're gonna put the pinky down.
Oh.
That's the high D for us. Yeah, and the octaves are quite in tune. That's really nice.
I'm feeling confident.
Yeah. You should be. This is good first lesson. Especially that the low D is like, it's nice. The low notes are very tricky on all flutes. These kinds of flutes are not made to play low. The thing is it's a big cone. I don't know how easy it is to see, but it starts off quite broad at the top and it tapers down. Like at the bottom this one has a wider bore, but like on this one, my pinky can only get into like the first joint.
Wow.
There.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Small. Yeah.
So the low notes become very tricky because we're covering all of the holes. So basically the air is only getting out there.
Yes.
So exactly.
Yeah.
The more that we open, the easier it becomes to produce sound.
And what about articulation?
Articulation, there are books written about articulation, of course, for all wind instruments. I think that articulation is one of the main differences between a historical player and a modern player. To put it very simplistically, if you go to a music school for modern flute, you will learn about your T's and you'll learn about your K's. So you get your double tonguing stuff, you know?
Yeah.
That's kind of the long and short of it. Of course, that's very blunt, and a good teacher will have a lot more nuance than that. But on Traverso, I mean, every method is saying something different. So Quantz is talking about diddle,
right?
For example. In general, I would say it doesn't need sharp T's as much as a modern flute does because of the nature of the material, of the nature of the repertoire. I mean, it's a little bit of an aggressive thing. If I use a T, it's really because I want to make a big jump stand out, or I want to give a really clear beginning to something.
Could I hear that?
Yeah, sure. So. Those are all. Yeah, a little pop at the beginning of each note. Yeah. But if you do that on every single note, you're going to be exhausted. In reality, I don't use T's all the time on modern flute either. I'm a big fan of D. D is great. D is relaxed, you know. Exactly. So a D would be, if I play something different. These are all Ds. You can also use an L or an R. Maybe you have viewers in Japan. I'm sure you do. I have a couple of Japanese students who are very good at this articulation because in Japanese you have a sound that is in between a D, an L, and an R.
Wow.
So they'll put their tongue behind the teeth to like a D, but they'll go da. Da. It's like a da. I can't even make this out. It's used a lot in Japanese. Wow. And that's a very nice articulation on the Traverso, actually.
Beautiful.
Now you get
I love how your native language can affect the way you articulate.
Oh, it's super interesting. I would love to do more research into it. Why is there such a fantastic, booming modern flute school from France or from French-speaking countries? Well, because the articulation that we use on modern flute is tu, 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 tu.
Ah.
It's almost exactly like the French word tu. And I'm convinced that for French speakers that this articulation comes quite naturally. And for people who don't speak a European language, for example, as a first language, that might be a little bit more of a struggle. But articulation, language definitely affects articulation and even, the position of your mouth for breathing.
Yeah.
It's interesting, for sure. And I do notice that there are a lot of fantastic Japanese Traverso players with very good articulation.
Could we try playing something together?
Absolutely, yeah. So I've got flute method with me, Traverso method. So this method is 203 pages.
Whoa.
Including fingering charts and some explanation.
Amazing.
G, A, and B starts off with some very simple things, could be even good for a very young student. And the really nice thing about this book is that as soon as the student is able to, she puts duets in.
Ooh, let's do it.
Wait, do you want to play the top voice?
Oh, got it upside down. Oh no, not. Oh. I was looking
that
for the
will
hole.
go on the blooper reel.
A lot of fun. I noticed two things, like my face hurts.
Where does your face hurt? Here.
Yeah, I feel a lot of tension.
Yeah. So you want to make this nice little embouchure, but you don't want to that.
Yeah.
You get this tension here.
I have a terrible modern flute embouchure of like...
On a Traverso, it's kind of nice to just have this more broad sound. The embouchure is much smaller than on a modern flute. It's half the size. It's tiny, it's round. Think everything down, including the corners of the mouth, and just... Yeah, exactly. Wow. Yeah, then you can give a lot of air as well. Yeah, that's the one.
I say this in every video. For low notes on the recorder, warm, slow air, then you can give a lot.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's the same idea. I always tell my students, if you're playing high, the higher you play, the lower you think. Tendency is as we get higher, that everything gets higher, including our entire body. So you end up with this. You want to play the high note, but you want to imagine that you're playing a low note.
Oh.
So let's try high G, because high G has got a nice fingering. You're going to play normal G, and you're just going to remove that one.
Oh.
There it is. High notes are just higher harmonics of low notes, right? If you think of them that way, as something that you're approaching from below, that's why I actually do practice this quite a lot, that I take the high fingering, but I blow the lower notes so that I don't immediately tense to get the high notes out.
Yeah.
Even after 25 years, if I'm just starting cold and I take my flute out and play a high A, I'm going to be tense. So, nice to,
lifting it up.
Overblow it from below.
I'm going to be really self-indulgent.
Yeah.
Could I hear like the last 4 bars of the Bach partita?
Sure.
Wow, beautiful. On modern recorder, this is in C minor, so we have...
Oh my god. It's mostly a stress thing that you see it coming up. When I play this piece in a concert, I play it from memory, because purely the stress of seeing that high a few lines in advance will make me tense. If I just don't think about it until I get there, I'm usually okay.
I love that.
Aysha has 3 beautiful instruments with her, so let's meet them.
These are all, indeed what we would call traversos, so flutes with 1 to 2 keys. This is basically spanning the 18th century, what I've got here. First thing you'll notice, this one is significantly longer than the rest. It's partially because of this ridiculous cap, of which there is a shorter variety if you want to be more modest. This is from a copy of a flute from the early 18th century, built by Naust, one of the most famous French makers, Parisian makers. It's so much bigger because it's lower. So it's a half tone lower than that. put them kind of in chronological order. 1720, Leipzig, so a nice a Bach instrument. The original is in ivory, and it's in the Instrument Museum in Berlin. It's built by Eigentopf. This is the flute I play the most, so it's also quite open, but still has that boxwood quality. Now this one, heavier and a denser wood and a bigger bore. And this is a copy of a flute built by Quantz. I opted to have the most simple version with only this option, the 2 keys. He also invented a little thingy here that you can screw out to tune. And also here where this seam is, you can also have an option to slide out there, which is a precursor to later flutes. But more suitable for late repertoire. And, if you're playing Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach or Quantz, this will be the one that you want. If you're playing mostly J.S. Bach, this will be the one that you want. And if you're playing French Baroque music, that will be the one that I would go for. So they're all for kind of a different purpose. They look different, they sound different. These two are both made of boxwood. And this is grenadilla. Makes it a lot heavier. Also makes it a little bit louder. The other thing is that the embouchure of this flute is actually significantly bigger than that one. The outside is basically just a tube. It tapers, like we were talking about before. It's wider here than it is here. Head joint is cylindrical, so that's basically quite simple. But the measurements of the inside matter. So the more narrow something is, the less room there is for the air to bounce around. This has got a very wide bore, and it's heavy. So when I first bought this for a recital last year, I struggled a lot in the beginning with stamina. Yeah, so this is the extra key, and then shortly after this flute was made, it started to evolve more. So during Mozart's lifetime, we know that Mozart's kind of on the edge. You can play the Mozart flute concertos on this, G major and D major, and the flute quartets. However, the Mozart C major flute and harp concerto has a low C in it, so we know that at least the range of the flute was extended. What also happens is that there's a G sharp with a crescendo. G sharp is maybe the weakest note on the Traverso. So it would be impossible to make such a big crescendo without the key. So that's kind of the moment that they started to put the crucial things in. So G sharp, and an F key, so you don't have to worry about what we were talking about earlier, the difference between the F and the F sharp.
Yeah.
And increasing the range. And and then basically in terms of history, from that moment on, it was kind of a race. Everyone wanted to innovate and add new stuff and more stuff, and that continued until the Böhm flute was basically discovered or invented in 1831. And to be honest, there were a lot of modern flute systems that could have won out as well. A lot of I just wrote an article about English flutes. They made systems that were in between old systems and new ones so that people could bridge that gap easier. But in the end, the German engineering won out.
Wow.
So they're all for kind of a different purpose. I mean, it's an excuse to have more flutes. Yeah, a flute for every decade, you know?
That's the dream.
That's the dream, yeah.
I forgot all of the fingerings.
Oh, that was pretty good.
I was in panic
I
mode.
heard a B flat. I heard at least one.
Could we try this now on Traverso? I'll take recorder.
Sure. nice with recorder.
Up there. Thank you so much to Aysha for coming and teaching me today. I think I'm converted.
It's an absolute joy. You were a model student.
Thank you.
You can play an F and an F sharp in 2.
Yeah, that's basically all I want from life.
Don't forget to download Apple Music Classical at the link below and check out Aysha's solo album and her ensemble Postscript.
As always, you can subscribe to my channel by clicking on my face down here in the corner. Over here is the Team Recorder Patreon where you can choose to support the channel and hear some more videos. Thanks for watching and have a great day.